looking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your gear, hold on tight.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where love never dies, but sometimes comes back to bite. If you love spine-tingling horror, emotional romance, and heart-racing suspense, all wrapped in the chilling world of zombies, you're in the right place. This channel is your go-to destination for original zombie love stories, haunted betrayals, and romantic thrillers, with dark twists that will leave you breathless. Our latest tale is Shakuntala, Curse of the Forgotten Heart, a seductive, terrifying, and twisted zombie reimagining of the classic Indian legend. A beautiful forest girl, a cursed king, and a jealous undead guardian are trapped in a deadly love triangle. Betrayal, dark magic, and forbidden passion lead to a horrifying transformation, and the birth of a zombie child destined to change the world. Will love conquer death? Or will jealousy and curses doom them all? Subscribe now to experience the entire story, told in simple English with intense storytelling, rich visuals, and unforgettable characters. If this sounds like your kind of story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us what you think of the story, your favorite characters, or what you'd love to see next. Your Undead adventure begins now. Only on the Zombie Story Zone.
It's a crazy mix.
The forest whispered Shakuntala's sorrow. Each day she stood by the edge of the haunted Ashoka lake, where mist hung like a ghostly veil, and the trees wept with her. Her hands clutched the golden ring the king had given her, the symbol of their love, now worn thin from her endless caressing. The memories haunted her. Their first meeting by the waterfall, his strong arms lifting her as she slipped on mossy stones, his soft promises under the moonlight, his kiss, trembling with hunger and hope. But weeks had passed. Then months. The birds still sang, but the king never returned. Inside her belly, life stirred. The baby kicked gently, a reminder of the love that once was. And yet, he had forgotten her. Far from the city walls, King Dushyanta sat in his palace, busy with war, court, and pleasures. He remembered none of the forest, none of the girl whose love burned like fire. The curse that Vikran had whispered into the wind had worked. The king's heart was empty where Shakuntala once lived. Vikran, cloaked in shadows, watched her suffer. His body, once proud and strong, now decayed. His skin flaked, eyes sunken, but his heart still beat for her. He had cursed the king out of jealousy, but now guilt poisoned him. "Forget him, Shakuntala," he said from the dark one night. She didn't turn. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I can't. He promised he'd come back." Tears fell. Not just hers, but the forest's too. Even the moon seemed to mourn. Behind them, the lake rippled unnaturally. Something was changing. Something dark was awakening. And deep in the city, the king suddenly paused mid-feast, a strange ache pulsing in his chest. But the curse still held. He did not remember, yet. The rain fell in silver sheets as Shakuntala stepped out of the forest. Her bare feet slipped on wet earth, her green cloak clung to her body, soaked and heavy. Each step was agony, not from the weight of her growing belly, but from the silence of the man who had forgotten her. The trees seemed to hold her back, their branches reaching like hands, begging her not to go. But hope pushed her forward. She had to find him. After 3 days of walking, Shakuntala reached the edge of Hastin city. The walls were high, the gates guarded by spears and men with cold eyes. Her forest clothes and tired face drew whispers and stares. But her beauty still shone, skin glowing like golden dusk, her dark hair falling in curls over her shoulders, her eyes wild with love and grief. She entered the palace courtyard with trembling steps, holding the ring close to her heart. King Dushyanta was on his throne, laughing with courtiers, his gaze proud but empty. When his eyes met hers, she froze. Surely he would run to her, say her name, hold her. Instead, he frowned. "Who are you?" Her breath shattered. "I am Shakuntala, your wife." The forest, the ring, our child, gasps filled the hall. Dushyanta stood, his face pale. "I've never seen you before." Her knees buckled. The ring slipped from her fingers and rolled into the shadows. She fainted. That night, she woke up alone in a small alley behind the temple. Her heart felt like it had died. But from the shadows, Vikran watched. He had followed silent and hidden. And when she cried into the night, He whispered into the wind, "I'm still here, Shakuntala. I never forgot." But she never heard him. Not yet. The days in the city blurred into shadows and hunger. Shakuntala wandered the temple alleys with hollow eyes and an aching body. The child inside her stirred more violently now, as if sensing the heartbreak that burned in her soul. Each night, she pressed a trembling hand over her belly and whispered stories of a love that once lived. But the city was cruel. Mothers turned away, beggars scoffed, and guards sneered. She was invisible. Except to one man. He came like a ghost, always at night, cloaked in black, his face hidden beneath a hood. His name was Varan, or so he said. His voice was deep, calm, gentle. His gloved hands carried bread, a blanket, sometimes a flask of warm tea. "I want nothing," he told her softly, crouching beside her in the rain. "Only that you survive." She should have feared him, but something in his presence gave her peace. His voice stirred memories she couldn't place. It felt like safety, like warmth in winter. She began to wait for him. On the 5th night, she let him sit beside her. On the 7th, she leaned her head on his shoulder. And on the 10th, under a moon choked in mist, they shared wine from a stolen bottle. Her lips were cracked and dry, but when they touched his, cold, trembling, something inside her stirred. "I feel like I'm losing myself," she whispered, tears sliding down her cheek. Varan brushed her face with his gloved thumb. "You're not lost, Shakuntala. You're becoming something stronger." Their kiss was slow. Cold met warm. Life touched death. And in that moment, Vikran, the undead soul beneath the cloak, let his hunger slip free. He bit her. Just once. Just enough. Her eyes flew open. Her scream echoed into the alley, but then turned into a moan. She didn't pull away. The curse had begun to pass. Not in hatred, but in dark desire. The alley stank of rot and rain. Shakuntala lay on the ground, her body twitching. The bite on her neck throbbed like a second heartbeat. Her fingers clawed at the stones beneath her as her skin paled. Her breath quickened, and a strange hunger began to bloom inside her. A hunger she did not understand. Vikran, still cloaked as Varan, knelt beside her, horrified by what he had done. "I didn't mean to," he whispered. "I tried to hold back." But desire had overpowered guilt. He stared at the bite, shallow, yes, but deep enough to carry the curse. He had tasted her blood, sweet, warm, alive, and now it pulsed inside her. Shakuntala's eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly green. "What's happening to me?" she gasped, her voice raspy. "You're changing." Vikran murmured. "But you won't die. You'll become something eternal." She recoiled. You're not human." He lowered his hood. The street lamp flickered above as Vikran revealed his face, skin marbled with decay, eyes sunken but sorrowful, lips stained with blood and regret. "I was cursed," he said. "Long ago. I only wanted to protect you." Shakuntala tried to scream, but her throat caught fire. Her body convulsed. Inside her, the child kicked, harder than ever. Suddenly, a royal horn blew through the city. In the palace, King Dushyanta dropped his goblet. A flash of pain cut through his chest. He stumbled toward his chamber window, eyes wide. "The ring?" he whispered. Servants ran to him, holding up the small golden band, found in a drain, glittering under moonlight. Memories crashed back. The forest, the waterfall. The girl with glowing eyes and a voice like wind through trees. Shakuntala. His knees buckled. He remembered everything. And he knew he had to find her before it was too late. The moon was bleeding red. Inside a crumbling stone shelter near the edge of the city, Shakuntala writhed on a straw mat. Her skin burned cold. Her veins shimmered like ink under pale flesh. The bite on her neck had darkened, pulsing with unnatural life. Her breaths came in rasps, but she was not dying. She was changing. Vikran sat in the corner, his undead body trembling. He hadn't fed in days, saving what little control he had for her. His heart, though long dead, ached with guilt. The woman he had sworn to protect now suffered because of him, because he had loved her too much. Shakuntala opened her eyes. They glowed a deeper green now, swirling with power and pain. And then, a sound. Boots. Rushing. The door burst open. King Dushyanta stood at the threshold, soaked in sweat and dust, his royal cloak torn from his frantic journey, his eyes locked on her. "Shakuntala." She sat up slowly, eyes locked on his. The pain inside her quieted. For a moment, the forest returned. The waterfall, the laughter, the kisses. "You remember?" she asked. His voice cracked. "I never should have forgotten." But before he could take a step closer, Vikran rose, growling, his monstrous body shadowed against the flickering firelight. You're too late, he snarled. She's mine now. Dushanta drew his sword. The steel caught the firelight as he pointed it at Vikran's chest. She was never yours. The baby kicked again. Shakuntala gasped and clutched her stomach. The child inside was waking. Vikran's voice softened. She belongs to no one, but she and that child are part of me now. Dushanta stepped forward, fury rising. You infected her? You cursed me. You're a monster. I'm what your forgetting made me, Vikran said bitterly. Shakuntala stood slowly between them, her hair falling wild across her glowing skin. She held up her hand. Stop, she whispered. But her voice had changed, deeper, layered, not fully human, not yet fully undead. I loved both of you, she said, but now I am something more. The air froze. The triangle had broken, but what rose in its place was something far more dangerous. The storm cracked above the temple ruins as lightning lit the broken stones like bones under skin. Inside, Shakuntala lay on a bed of moss and silken robes brought from the palace by Dushyanta. Her transformation was nearly complete. Her skin glowed with an unnatural beauty, pale yet radiant, with veins like black vines crawling along her arms. Her lips, once soft pink, were now a deep, hypnotic red. Beside her, two women watched in silence. One was Princess Mira, Dushyanta's former betrothed. Graceful, sharp-eyed, with raven black hair and lips that curved like secrets. She had followed the king in secret, her love for him still burning, even though he had abandoned her for a mystery woman from the forest. The other was Nandini, a healer from the temple, curvy, sensuous, her honey-brown skin glistening with rain, her gown sheer and clinging to her. She was drawn to Shakuntala not out of duty, but desire. She's not dying, Nandini whispered, brushing Shakuntala's cheek. She's becoming something. Divine. She's dangerous, Mira hissed, her hand resting on the dagger strapped to her thigh. She stole the king's heart, and now she's changing into something cursed. But even Mira couldn't look away from Shakuntala's beauty. Even now, corrupted, the woman radiated a kind of erotic magnetism that pulled them all toward her, men and women alike. Vikran watched from the shadows, his hunger nearly breaking through. Dushyanta knelt at Shakuntala's side, holding her hand. Let me take you away. We'll leave this madness behind. She can't leave, Vikran growled. She carries the child, the infection, the prophecy. Suddenly, Shakuntala sat up, her eyes glowing with silvery fire. Her voice came soft but powerful. I feel your love, all of you. But I am no longer only a lover. I am desire. I am death. She looked at Mira, then Nandini, then Vikran and Dushyanta. You all want pieces of me. My body, my heart, my power. The air thickened. Shakuntala stood, her silk gown slipping off one shoulder, revealing the glowing bite mark. Nandini gasped. Mira stepped closer. Even Dushyanta and Vikran were silent. She smiled, dark and seductive. Then come take it. The doors of the temple slammed shut. Outside, the city began to burn. Thunder rolled like ancient drums across the sky. Rain pounded the ruined temple roof as shadows danced against crumbling stone. Inside, the world was unraveling. Shakuntala lay atop silk-covered stone, her body arched in pain, glowing in ghostly hues. Her moans echoed, part agony, part ecstasy, as the child inside her pushed to be born. Mira, flushed and breathless, held Shakuntala's trembling hand. Her jealousy had faded into fascination. She had never touched another woman before. Yet now, she couldn't look away from Shakuntala's beauty. Raw, terrifying, divine. Nandini knelt between Shakuntala's legs, whispering calming chants. Her fingers trembled as she touched the slick warmth of life about to enter the world. Her gaze traveled up Shakuntala's glowing thighs to her heaving chest, the fabric soaked and clinging to every curve. Lust and reverence battled in her heart. She's close, Nandini whispered, voice husky. So close. Vikran stood rigid in the corner, half wild, his undead form shaking with hunger and love. Dushyanta stood on the opposite side of the altar, sword drawn, torn between protecting the woman he remembered and the monster she was becoming. Then it happened. A final scream, beautiful and blood-chilling, and silence. A moment later, a sound pierced the air. Not a cry, a low growl. Nandini recoiled. Gods, the baby, a girl, lay in her hands. Silver-eyed, dark-veined, glowing like fireflies in moonlight. She did not cry. She blinked, stared at the others, then reached out with tiny fingers and bit Nandini's wrist. Blood splattered across the floor. But Nandini didn't scream. Her eyes widened, her breath caught, her pupils dilated. She moaned softly. I feel everything, she whispered. Dushyanta lunged forward. Give her to me. I'll end this now. No, Shakuntala shouted, standing with blood still trailing down her legs. Her gown hung open, her body radiant and feral. You touch her, and you die. The baby opened her mouth and let out a sharp shriek. Candles burst into flame. The walls trembled. She's not just a child, Vikran murmured. She's the prophecy, a queen born of love and death. Shakuntala held the child close and looked at them all. Her name is Karunai, and the world will bow. Midnight cloaked the temple in shadows. Outside, the rain had stopped. The storm was gone, but the world felt heavier, as if something ancient had awoken. Inside, a single torch flickered, casting golden light on bodies still stained with blood and sweat. Shakuntala stood tall in the silence, her skin gleaming with moonlight, a blood-red shawl loosely wrapped around her bare shoulders. The child, Karunai, slept peacefully in her arms, nestled against her breast, a soft purr humming from her lips like a cat content after its first kill. Nandini stood behind her, silent, her bite wound already darkening. Her body trembled, not in fear, but hunger. She stared at Shakuntala's exposed neck and curve of her hips with longing. She wanted more. Of her, of the child, of whatever power had been awakened inside them all. Mira, still cloaked in her silk robe, stepped forward with a blade in hand. Her eyes were unreadable. I should kill you, Mira said, her voice a whisper, but I can't stop dreaming of you. Shakuntala turned, her lips curving into a slow, wicked smile. Then come dream closer. Their lips met. A kiss, deep, wild, still hungry. Mira gasped into it, dropping the dagger. Nandini stepped forward too, pressing her lips against Shakuntala's neck from behind, biting softly. Dushyanta stormed in, sword drawn, face twisted in rage and confusion. What is this madness? Shakuntala pulled away, blood smeared on her mouth, her voice calm. You loved me once, as a woman. Can you love me now, as a goddess? Vikran stepped from the shadows, eyes fixed on her. She doesn't need your love, Dushyanta. She has mine. No, and soon she will lead us. The undead, the cursed, the forgotten. Shakuntala walked toward the king, Karunai cradled in her arms, the two women at her sides like priestesses of a dark temple. I offered you my heart once, she said. Now I offer you a choice. She kissed him deeply. He froze. Her tongue slid into his mouth. Her fangs grazed his lip. I can love you, she whispered, or I can end you. The king's sword fell from his hand, and outside, the graves across the city began to stir. By dawn, the sky had turned crimson. From the royal palace to the slums, the city of Haston trembled beneath a rising storm of moans and whispers. Graves split open. Bones cracked through stone. Rotten hands clawed from crypts. The dead had heard their queen's call, and they were answering. In the heart of the ruined temple, Shakuntala stood like a goddess of decay, her long black hair flowing in the hot wind, her crimson gown wrapped around her curvaceous form like blood and fire. The baby Karunai, now with glowing silver eyes and teeth like tiny daggers, sat quietly in her arms, cooing with an eerie purr that echoed across the hills. Nandini stood to Shakuntala's right, her body now fully turned, her skin pale, her lips dark, yet she smiled with blissful hunger. Mira stood on the left, dressed in silver armor that shimmered with ancient runes. Though still human, her blood boiled with desire and madness. She kissed Shakuntala before slipping her dagger into her boot. If we fall, she whispered, we fall together. From the city gates, King Dushyanta watched in horror. He had returned to his throne, summoned his armies, and told his generals to prepare for battle. But no one believed his words. Not until the bell tower collapsed beneath the feet of the dead. Across the battlefield, Vikran led the undead army, his face half covered in bone and steel. Beside him, creatures twisted by the curse, mothers, lovers, children, and kings, marched in silence. Dushyanta rode forward on his black steed, sword drawn. He stared at Shakuntala across the field. This is madness, he yelled. You once loved me. I did, Shakuntala replied, her voice a haunting melody. But I died waiting. And now, I rise for them. She raised her hand. The undead paused. She lowered it. They charged. The ground quaked with the roar of the dead. Screams echoed. Steel met rotting flesh. Fire rained from the sky. And in the chaos, Shakuntala moved like a dancer of death. Beautiful, deadly, untouchable. The war had begun. But no one knew. It would not be won by blade or blood. It would be won by memory, betrayal, and a final kiss. The battlefield burned beneath a blood-red sky. Ash rained down like gray snow. Screams twisted through the smoke. Men fought monsters. Friends killed friends. The dead feasted on the living. All around, the city of Haston crumbled into rot. At the center of it all stood Shakuntala, queen of the undead, lover of kings, mother of prophecy. Her gown, torn and soaked in blood, clung to her curvy figure like war paint. Her eyes glowed silver white, and her voice rang like thunder as she whispered ancient words into the wind. Karunai, her daughter, floated beside her. No longer a baby, but a child of unholy beauty, levitating above the ground, arms outstretched, eyes rolled white. Her scream shattered stone, her laughter silenced generals. Mira had fallen, her chest pierced, her final kiss still on Shakuntala's lips. Nandini knelt before the child, her body nearly gone, her mind lost to the hunger. "We live to serve," she murmured. Across the battlefield, Vikran and Dushyanta clashed, their blades ringing with love and fury. Both had loved her. Both had lost her. But only one still remembered the truth. "Stop!" Shakuntala screamed, stepping between them. "It ends now!" The ground trembled. Karunai hovered above them, her hands glowing. Power crackled through the air. And then, silence. Time slowed. Shakuntala stepped forward and kissed both men, once on Vikran's mouth, once on Dushyanta's forehead. Her tears fell like burning diamonds. "I loved you both, but this isn't love anymore." She turned to her daughter. "You were born from pain, but you don't have to live in it." The child looked at her. "Then let me go." Shakuntala nodded. She touched Karunai's chest. A flash of light exploded across the sky. When the light faded, the battlefield was empty. No undead, no screams, no kings, no queens, just the forest, the lake, and a single flower blooming by the water's edge, black petals, glowing silver veins. In the city, people awoke with no memory of the war. In the palace, the throne sat empty. In the wind, a whisper echoed, "Love forgotten is love reborn." Years passed. Haston City rebuilt itself, brick by brick, forgetting what it once feared. The people no longer spoke of the undead. No one remembered the war, the queen, the scream that split the sky. Historians claimed it was a plague. Priests said it was judgment. But no one truly knew. Only the wind remembered. At the edge of the old forest, where vines grew thick and silence ruled, a single black flower bloomed beside the Ashoka Lake. No one dared touch it. No birds sang near it. But some swore they saw a woman's reflection in the still water. Long dark hair, eyes that shimmered like silver moons, lips that curved with secrets. Sometimes at twilight, 3 figures would appear. A woman dressed in blood-red silk, a pale, beautiful child with glowing eyes, and a man with scars on his face and peace in his eyes. They said nothing. They simply stood hand in hand, watching the horizon, waiting. Not for war, not for love, but for memory. For the time when stories would return and someone would ask, "Who was she?" And maybe then the flower would open again. In the distant hills, a little girl played in the grass. She found a ring, old, golden, worn by time. She slid it on her finger, and behind her, in the shadows, eyes opened. A heartbeat began again, and a whisper filled the air. She never truly left. And that was Shakuntala, Curse of the Forgotten Heart, where love didn't just survive death, it became something darker, deeper, and eternal. Was it a tale of romance? A tragedy? A warning? Or perhaps a prophecy still waiting to come true? From cursed kings and seductive undead queens to forbidden desires and a child born of darkness, this story reminds us. Love can rot, but it can also rise again. If this tale gripped your soul, twisted your heart, or left you breathless, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Zombie Story Zone for more hauntingly beautiful love stories from beyond the grave. Which character did you love the most? Shakuntala, Mira, Nandini, Vikran, or the eerie child Karunai? Tell us in the comments below. We want to know what gave you chills and what broke your heart. And if you'd like to see a sequel, a visual retelling, or even an alternate ending, let us know. This is just one of many twisted romantic horrors we bring to life here on the Zombie Story Zone, where every love story has teeth. Until the next bite, stay undead, stay in love.
In the shadows of the night, where the moonlight glows, the zombies lurking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your gear, hold on tight. It's a wild ride ahead in a zombie story zone where the brave don't fear the dead. Welcome to the